After September 11, 2001, the first long war, the Cold War, mutated without pause into a second long war, the war against terror. There is a distinction between the two wars that is important to my argument. The first long war, the Cold War, could come to an end, since it was said to be against an ideology embodied in geopolitical pole of power, the Soviet Union. The second long war, since its objective is the elimination of a tactic, can never come to an end. The Cold War, as it was conducted, required a major arsenal whose deployment was visible on the ground and in the air, and a system of conscription engaging the whole population. The second war, the war against terror, relies on a professional army enhanced by mercenaries, high-tech weaponry, counterinsurgency tactics, and an invisible air war. This combination makes war an abstraction. Armed social work, as one counterinsurgency expert put it, on the one hand, armed social work on the one hand, the quote is David Kilcullen, hunter-killer teams on the other. Counterinsurgency is a war for all seasons. Its principles have no time limit, no clear goal, no exit strategy. They are all tactical: clear, hold, and build, use less rather than more force, be sensitive to the local culture, support only legitimate governments, be population-centric, employ non-kinetic means whenever possible. These means are said to have worked in Iraq. It is believed they will work in Afghanistan. Judging by the past, if counterinsurgency doesn't work in Afghanistan, it will be interpreted as having worked, or it will be said not to have been pursued long enough or hard enough. This is how it worked in Iraq. According to WikiLeaks, some 15,000 more civilians were killed by US and Allied forces than were reported at the time. Suspected insurgents were often killed after they surrendered. A lawyer reassured a helicopter pilot that, quote, you cannot surrender to an aircraft, so it was okay to shoot the guy on the ground. The US knew and refused to investigate the large number of suspects turned over to Iraqi authorities who were raped, tortured, murdered. The public was relatively well informed on the sectarian warfare that turned Iraqi cities into killing fields, but few people knew the extent to which US-trained death squads, modeled on operations in El Salvador, participated in this sectarian violence. It was perhaps because so much of the violence of the war in Iraq was hidden that the revelations about Abu Ghraib had such force.